What is up, Lord of the Rings fam? What we have here for you today is 5 common questions or frequently asked questions based on multiple servers, multiple discords, fellowship chat, etc., where people genuinely just want to find the answers to these questions. The questions are as follows. So what is some commanders gain more experience than others? What is better, attack or damage? What's the difference between commander-in-chief and common commander? Is it better to use focus damage dealing commanders or physical damage dealing commanders? And finally, we have number 5. What does the little icon with 1, 2, and 3 pointers on troops mean? Alright, getting straight into it, guys. First question, why do some commanders gain more experience than others? The answer is they don't. So we've had multiple theories on Discord, on fellowship chat, world chat regarding bloodline, and if a certain commander spawns in a certain region, he will be able to gain more experience than other commanders, which is completely false. Other people have been saying if a commander is the main commander or commander-in-chief, he gets more experience, which is completely false as well. I had my own theory that where if a certain commander deals more damage, he may receive more experience. So I tested that theory as well, and that was false. So everything's false. So every single commander will get the same amount of experience. So as shown here, so I was testing something up there. So here we have 7,128 experience for a level 60 tile, and every single commander will get the same amount of experience. This is based on maths that I've done on multiple occasions, testing on evil side and on my good side account, and it's completely false. So it's just not it's not based on anything that anyone has mentioned. Every single commander gets the same amount of experience as shown on the report. So let's move on. Question 2, what is better, attack or damage? So damage determines the ability to inflict all types of damage, where attack determines the only physical damage. That is shown also here. So attack, so that affects ability to inflict physical damage, whereas damage has the ability to inflict all types of damage. So knowing that, if you have units and commanders that deal physical damage, attack is better. And then if you have units that deal focus damage, burn or poison damage, then damage is better. Whereas you'd want to scale damage and focus. For physical, just attack would be, damage would be great for attack as well, for physical damage dealing commanders as well, because damage applies to that too. The only thing that I would argue there is attack is much easier to scale compared to damage, so as you can see here as well. Moving on, let's go to question 3. What's the difference between commander-in-chief and common commander? Alright, so the commander-in-chief is the one at the front, and common commanders are the commanders at the back. So the commander in the main formation can't be heavily wounded. This is based on the actual game facts. So the commander in the main formation can't be heavily wounded and must have units, or else the army can't take any actions. So this, with a lot of bugs in 2.0, this is another thing that is completely false. So this is stated by the devs, and it's not true. If the main commander's troops die, they will still be able to launch attacks and skills. So for example, Dane's at the front and he's got a bunch of T3 dwarves, and if those dwarves die, Dane will still be able to attack even though he has no troops left. So that statement made by the game or developers, whoever you want to put that on, is completely false. I've tested it multiple times as well with multiple commanders. However, if the main commander dies, the troops will not be able to launch or perform any actions. So launch any attacks or perform any actions. So you want to make sure that your commander-in-chief has a lot of HP, has a lot of defense, because you don't want him dying off. That will be your frontline commander, as stated in my last video. And another important thing to note is you want him to have a lot of command as well. So if his troops fall, there'll be a high chance for enemy to target your commander rather than when you have troops available. And as he's the frontline commander, you really don't want to miss out on that. So please, your main frontline commander, it's got to be a tank strong commander, so HP, defense, and command. And obviously, if you want to use someone like Dane, attack. Number 4, is it better to use focus damage commanders or physical damage commanders? So this is interesting. In short, it's both. You want to use both. But let me elaborate so everyone understands this better. You may have realized that commanders have focus and units don't. So I'll show you that here. Commanders have focus and, oops. When we go to units, see they have damage, attack, initiative, march speed, HP, defense, siege. They don't have focus though. So what does that mean? So that's interesting, right? That means that when you use focus damage dealing commanders, your attacks will be very, very significant to troops, not so much to commanders, because if you read focus on a commander, affects a commander's focus, burn, and poison damage dealt, and reduces the amount of damage they take from the aforementioned damage types. So if they're getting attacked by focus damage dealing commander, burn or poison damage dealing commander, this will reduce the amount of damage that they will receive. So that means because troops don't have this, troops will receive the full force of the focus, burn or poison damage dealt. What does this mean as well? When focus damage dealing commanders fight with other focus damage dealing commanders, they will deal less damage because they will have more focus. So if Saruman went up against another focus damage dealing commander, they would deal less damage to each other than other commanders because they have more focus, which in result reduces the amount of damage dealt. So definitely I have tested it as well. Saruman's main skill, I forgot what it was called, of many colors, yeah. So it dealt roughly on average to commanders around 50 damage compared to troops where it was dealing like 1,350 damage, for example. Alright, so I hope that answered your question. Another thing I'd like to note is my recommendation. My recommendation is to use at least one focus damage dealing commander that attacks multiple formations or units to deal as much damage as possible to units, as they are susceptible to focus, burn and poison damage more than commanders. And don't forget, since it seems 2.0 is all about physical damage, a lot of people will be running those pesky oak breakers. So you really want to have a focus damage dealing commander within your formation. So he can deal with those oath breakers as well. So let's move on to our last question. Question 5. What does that little icon with 1, 2, and 3 pointers on troops mean? That question had me a little bit confused. So these are questions based on multiple places where I've seen them or people have asked me. So if questions are asked more commonly to me, I'll just answer them in a video, but if they're not so common, I'll just answer you directly, or if I find them interesting, I'll post them in the video as well. So let me show you that. So that's regarding this little thing here, that. So here we have their men, and then that doesn't make much sense. You can't tell what type of troop that is. So what this trying to tell us is we have large units, medium units, small units. Small units deal more damage to large units deal more damage to medium units, and medium units deal more damage to small units. So what does that tell us? That's a small unit. When it has 3 little pointers or helmets, whatever you want to call them, that's a small unit. When it has 2, it's a medium unit, and when it has 1, it's a large unit. So it would be interesting to see what's a large unit. So everybody thought it would only be Mumakil, but what I'm about to show you, so trolls are also large units. And then we have, I'm gonna skip some of these. I'm just gonna find you something that I find really, really weird. All right, this is kind of weird, but not as weird as the next one. Warning are actually not medium units, they are large units. So I find that a little bit strange, but what I find more strange is, let me just find them, Vanguard. Vanguard I thought would be small units, but they are in fact medium units. As you can see, they have that little sign of 2, and it shows here as well 2. Which I've found strange. I thought there would be also small units. So yeah, that's what that means. And again, you want to really have in your formation in order to be effective. Medium and small units, as mostly everybody will be using that once PvP starts at around after level 40, because after level 40 you can only gain experience from PvP, which is really interesting. Before level 40, everybody will be farming up and stuff. Once it gets into the late game and people start exploring more options like large units and stuff, then I guess yeah, you'll be using more small units because they deal more damage to large units. So yeah, that's it for today. Answered all 5 of those questions, and then again, these questions are based on things that I have tested in the game or has been mentioned in the game, and then I've tested it and either proved it wrong or right. If anyone has any more questions, yeah, just ask away in Google, on YouTube comments, ask away. My Discord is OG Natsu, so you can add me and ask some questions there as well. If I find the questions to be common, I won't answer, I'll just make a YouTube video. But if the question is uncommon, then I'll just answer you directly if I'm able to answer you at that time. So yeah, thanks guys, like and subscribe. Cheers.